Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and broken news from Al Jazeera. This is the trending news now. The Asia goes nuclear as climate, Ukraine banish memories of Fukushima. So if you do not know what happened to Fukushima, there was this massive earthquake and tsunami that swept into Japan and the nuclear reactor at Fukushima meltdown. So and then that caused a major catastrophe and suddenly caused most of the world to be afraid and worried about nuclear energy. So and since Fukushima, a lot of countries start to roll back their nuclear plants or even close down nuclear power plants. But however, this year everything changed because of the Ukraine war. Now the Europe is facing energy crisis because they are refusing to buy Russian oil, and they sanction the gases and causing the price to all spike. And the price has already been spiking. Even before that, it was already been rising for around a year or two. And things happening in Libya, and as well as the Iran situation continue to not resolve, continue to cause oil price to continue to increase. So as such, Asian countries are now starting to look back at nuclear energy again. So let's scroll down and take a look. So from China, South Korea, Japan, Asian countries are now rushing back to low carbon energy source, which is coal, and due to climate crisis, soaring energy price, and energy security. And Japan is now beginning to restart nuclear power plants that has been idle since the 2011 disaster, which is the Fukushima one. And the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida plans to get 9 reactors and up to by the winter to meet the energy needs of the country. Japan's situation is a bit unique because they sanctioned Russia, and Russia actually cut them out from the Sakhalin 2 plan. The Sakhalin 2 is the energy plan. I think this gas pipeline that is supposed to link Japan with Russia and to provide them with cheap gas. And because Russia have reacted against Japan's hostile actions, they basically kick them out of the project, and then they nationalized the Sakhalin 2 project and asked Japan to sign up to be a stakeholder within this new privatized company. And because Japan sanctioned Russia, they are unable to do it. So it's a trap. Basically, it's the same thing, just that they trap it because the legislation in Japan do not allow them to to participate because of the sanction. And somehow Japan is going to go around it and make it happen just like what happened in Europe as they go around their own sanctions very curiously. So in South Korea, the newly elected president also resumed construction on 2 reactors and extending the lifespan of those that are in operation. So in China, they have 52 nuclear reactors under construction or planned. So that's rather crazy. That's a lot. And India and Pakistan, both huge countries, are already planning to enlarge their own nuclear capacity. So interestingly is Taiwan. Taiwan had always been pretty pacifist. They don't really like war. They don't like nuclear energy, and they are really into green energy, or into climate friendly stuff. But they are now going to restart their ideas about nuclear. Because extreme weather events, they are now having a heat wave as well, similar in Europe. And they feel like they now need energy, clean and abundant energy for the region's future prosperity. Not so sure if they have a future with China now staring at them with hungry eyes. So with natural gases hitting record high, and nuclear power seems to be the only quick option to escape the blackout and energy inflation. So this is by the Vice President for the International Affairs and Director for the Center of Energy Security Strategy Studies at the University of Seoul. So things are really getting out of hand, but somehow technologies like it because it seems clean at the point of energy supply, but that ignores what is this word, pernicious cost at other part of the life cycle, such as uranium mine, uranium mill, fuel processing, and waste repositories. So this is according to the professor of the energy policy at the University of Sussex Business School, who has studied nuclear power in Asia. So if you factor this in, some nuclear power plants have the same carbon footprint such as natural gas or fossil fuel. But it doesn't matter, right? Because the mine is not in your country, the mills are not in your country, the processing might not also be in your country, and you can throw it away in some other country that's not yours. So that works, right? So investing in nuclear energy is like fighting world hunger with caviar. This is just nonsensical. Yeah, he obviously have some very clear positions. So so Japan imports 98% of its energy supplies, and mainly betting on LNG. But then however, this energy accounts for 9% of import last year, and they are betting more, but they are now screwed because they sanctioned Russia, and their plan is now looking really bad. They are now Japan is standing in this very weird position where they are either or, the kind of situation where they like, we are now your enemy, but at the same time we're going to buy energy from you for the long term, the kind of situation which Russia don't really appreciate, feeling like Japan is not living up to reality. So this is the first time since post-Fukushima there's actually a formal government announcement saying that we are on the edge of a blackout and everyone needs to save power. And this is Japan, really bad. That means the situation is now looking really bad in Japan, and it's not very different from what is happening now in Europe, where Europe is also rushing to fill up all the gas reserve to to be prepared for winter, and winter is coming. The White Walkers will be walking all over them, and so China, of course, is always the odd one out. They don't really care about anyone. They just do whatever they want to do, and they have been boosting their nuclear output because nuclear energy seems to be the only way that can really fulfill their huge hunger for energy. And so the Communist Party of China, the nuclear energy promises to elevate not just climate and energy security concerns, but one of the world's worst air pollution. So they are now the current biggest consumer of coal, so they are trying to clean up the air, because the air is really bad in China. So nuclear energy seems to be a good idea for China to clean up the air. If you remember during the Olympics, for both Olympics that China have hosted, they literally shut down the entire city so that the sky can actually become blue. So that's how bad the air pollution is. They have to shut down all transportation. I think at once they were like, like they have an odd even situation where the odd numbers license plates can drive, then the even number plates cannot drive on that day, then they alternate it, and then all the industry have to close so that the air can clean up. So that's what the Chinese did. So they are desperately needing the nuclear power. So this one is that in the meantime the countries need a swing fuel, and in China the option is coal. And I tell you, this is not just in China but in Europe as well. So coal can be switched on very quickly and turned off again. There's nothing to do with long-term ambitions to build nuclear out. So according to Philip Andrew Speed, a senior researcher at Oxford Institute of Energy Studies. Oh, this is a very, very long article by Al Jazeera. And so very long-winded. So we can just speed through if we can. South Korea has built only nuclear reactors in the UAE, and policy back in South Korea is now changing very rapidly. There's a commitment to grow nuclear energy, blah blah blah. Then so certainly for the case for countries that have been considering South Korea along as other vendors, they're going to be more reassured that South Korea is going to retain the skill both in operations and also if it's continuing its own construction. So this could become a new industry for South Korea to really earn a lot of money. And so why is this article going to and fro all the different countries? So basically, previously the Taiwanese opposed to nuclear energy, but I don't think they have a choice. They voted in the referendum to scrap plans to shut the island's nuclear facility. So they're very weird. Anyway, this is a very long article. So in the end, let's come to the conclusion. So Asia's nuclear renaissance comes as other regions are making moves to ensure energy source as is part of the global effort to reach net zero emission. I don't think this is really what people cares about. It's all money. So Joe Biden have launched a 6 billion program to support nuclear power plants struggling with rising costs, and the European Parliament voted to include nuclear power in its green energy taxonomy of sustainable energy source. I'm not sure why you even need to vote nuclear energy to be a green energy. Isn't it green all the while? So in the last 10 years, nuclear energy nuclear generation have doubled in East Asia, and every country using nuclear generation is different, but overall trend is first driven by commitment to reduce greenhouse gases. I don't think this is true. Why would it be greenhouse gases? But more recently, by the need to improve security of supply and switch away from increasingly expensive fossil fuel imports. This is true, but I don't think to reduce greenhouse gas emission is actually the trend. I think not the real reason for nuclear energy. I think nuclear energy is just more reliable, it's more stable, and it's less subjective to supply chain problems, because you don't need a lot of uranium to actually generate power, as opposed to petrol, oil, gas. You really need to have a constant supply. So, and then other renewables like solar and wind is not very consistent. So nuclear is a consistent one, and you don't really need a very massive supply chain to do it. It's just that you have a very expensive initial cost. So anyway, this is the trending news currently by Al Jazeera, and hope this is interesting to you, and I will see you in the next update.